In this video, I'm going to show you how I would do the join as you go method for joining granny squares. As you can see, I have a yellow one here, and I have an ivory one here that I have started to make. I have done the center row and the following round, and I've started this corner here, then I did this, and now I'm on the second corner, and this is where I'm going to join it to the yellow square. This is how I do this. I will take, this is the pretty side of the work. You can see the difference in the way the stitches look. So this is considered the right side in crochet. This is considered the wrong side. So you take your squares, you put them wrong sides together, kind of like a sandwich. And with your, well, I'm going to call it the ivory yarn, or color B, since you're joining it to the first one. You've done your 3 double crochets. Normally you do a chain 2 and then 3 more. What you want to do is chain 1, stop there. In the corner that corresponds with your color A square, make sure they're aligned correctly. Insert your hook into the color A, or yellow square. Pull up a loop and work a slip stitch. You've just joined it. Now chain 1, that's the second chain that you're going to want. And now in the color B, or ivory square, you want to work your double crochets to finish off that corner. It's a little weird when you're doing it. There we go. Because that square is hanging there. But just hang on to it, and there we go. We have it's our first join. So now, normally you would chain 1 and work into the next chain 1 space right here. In this case, you're going to chain 1, come to the space on the yellow square right here, insert your hook, yarn over, slip stitch. Then work your 3 double crochets into that space on the square that you are joining, your color B square. There we go. And again, chain 1, look at the square on the back, find that space right there, join with a slip stitch, and then what you're going to do is start working into the corner of this square back here, your double crochets. Some people remove their hook and do it the other way. I find it's a little bit quicker to do it this way. So now we have our first section of this corner done, the 3 double crochets. Chain 1, insert into the corner of the square that you're joining to, right? Work your slip stitch, and then come back to this square and finish off your corner with your 3 double crochets. And you have just joined the 2 squares. There's a little bit of a pucker because my tension is a little tight, I will admit. But a little bit of blocking, a little bit of finger blocking and adjustment can take care of that. So what you would want to do is chain 1 and finish your square. You know what? I am being butterfingers today, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. Butterfingers. Work your 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Do this corner. You're at a corner now. So it's going to be 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. Okay, there we go. Chain 2. Pull out some more yarn. Hopefully the cat won't bite it because he's right over there. 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. There we go, chain 1, and this is the last section on this particular square. So you work 3 double crochets into that section there, into that chain 1 space from below, chain 1. Now we're back at the beginning where we have our chain 3. So we just work a slip stitch in there and join. Come on, joining. There we go. And we have joined 2 squares together. Let me nip off that yarn. There we go. So there's 2 squares joined, so that's a start. Let's say we want to do some more squares. Let me take some of this gold yarn that I have here, this color gold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make another square, chain 5, do it this way, there we go, join with a slip stitch, chain 3, start working the double crochets into the ring, chain 2, let me move my scissors out of the way, chain 2, do the next group of double crochets, there we go, pull more yarn out. Let me slide this out of the way, I think that's kind of being a little distracting. Chain 2, work 3 double crochets into the ring, chain 2. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here so far. We got 3 sets out of 4 of double crochets. We're almost there for the center. So we'll do this, another one, and a third one. There we go. Chain 2. I like to pull the circle tight at that point. Insert your hook, yarn over, work a slip stitch, join. So we have our center done. A little more yarn here. This is how I do this. I slip stitch over to the next corner, because these are only 3-row little tiny squares. If I was doing a giant one, I would just go the other way. I'd flip the work and work around the other way. I like doing it this way. Chain 3, work 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space, chain 2. By the way, granny square stitch is really versatile. It can be done in a lot of different projects. Start working our 3 double crochets into that. There we go. Chain 1, because we're jumping over this group right there. There we go. Start our 3 double crochets. Okay. Followed by a chain 2. Slide that over just a little bit. It should look like that. Work 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. There we go. Chain 1, because we're jumping over that. Start working the 3 double crochets into the corner and do the chain 2 stitch. Slide that over a little bit. It should look like that. 3 more double crochets into that corner. There we go. Chain 1. We're jumping over that group of stitches. Start working the double crochets into the chain 2 space of the corner. A little more yarn here. There we go. One more. Chain 2. Slide that over. Do a little finger blocking here so it looks like a square. We're getting there. 3 more double crochets into that chain 2 space. Chain 1, because we're jumping over that group. Now we're back at where we did the chain 3 when we started this round. So my hair, I'm shedding. There we go. We slip stitch and we have 2 rounds now. So we're going to do another round here. This is how I do it. Slip stitch to that corner. You just keep going. Little slip stitches right here into the corner itself. Chain 3. Work 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 2. I'm getting this now. Work 3 double crochets. And now we're going to have to jump over these 3 stitches, so chain 1, and work into the space next to them. 3 double crochets. 3 double crochets. Pretty repetitive, huh? And we're going to have to jump over the next 3 double crochet stitches right here. So chain 1 and start working into the corner. 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and stop. This is where we're going to decide where we're going to place our square on this. So I'm going to place them back to back. I'll connect it to the yellow square. I'm going to insert my hook into the chain 2 space, work a slip stitch to connect it, chain 1, come back to my gold square and finish it off with 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. Chain 1, work a slip stitch into this chain 1 space on the yellow square, and then come back here to your gold square and work your 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Now, there's the space right there that you're going to be working your slip stitch in. There we go. Come back to the gold yarn here and work your 3 double crochets for the corner. Chain 1. Normally you would work into this, but since we're joining now a 3rd square onto this, a little more yarn, join to the square that's diagonal from it. So in this case, this would be the ivory colored yarn. Work your slip stitch, chain 1, come back over here and finish off your 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and continue working around the square. Chain 2. Let's grab this here, start working these 3 doubles. Chain 1. This is the last group of 3 double crochets that we're going to need to work. Chain 1, and we're back at the 3 chains that we made at the beginning of this row. So there we go. We can connect that. We can cut this color. Finish it off. I leave huge tails. I don't know why I do that. I know why I do that. So we have that so far, but we're going to want to make another square, and we're going to want to join that. So pardon me, I'm going to find another color yarn, a contrasting color, and I think I have some gray here that I can use to make one more square. And of course, it would be very easy to make a border. If you make this into a huge afghan, it would be very easy to add a nice edging or border to complete the look. Or you could just leave the edges raw, because they look very nice and neat just the way they are. I am actually making a blanket very much like this with scrap yarns, just 3 rounds per square, and I'm just joining as I go. And this is the great thing about it. You can make it as big as you want, really. You can just keep going, keep adding, keep adding. So I have my gray yarn here. Let's get that hook. All right. Let's move the work out of the way for the moment. Join with a slip stitch. Chain 3. Here we go. All right. 2 double crochets, which makes 3 when you count the chain as a double crochet, because it is. That's what that's there for. It's like a little placeholder. Chain 2. 3 double crochets. Chain 2. Okay, 3 double crochets. Chain 2. See what we got so far. Yep, looks pretty good. We got one more set of 3 to do. Chain 2. Make sure everything is in the right place here before we join to that chain 3. There we go. Join. So keep going in the same direction. Slip stitch over to the corner. Slip stitch into the corner. That puts your hook where it needs to be. And chain 3. 2 double crochets. Chain 2. I crochet a little fast, but I do want to get to the part where you join pretty quickly. 3 double crochets into the corner. And I am not even, by any stretch of the imagination, the fastest crocheter out there. No way. Okay, I'm going to try and slow down a little bit, but only a little. Chain 2. It's just double crochets and chain stitches. That's all it is. Okay. Turn over. Start working the 3 double crochets. There we go. Chain 1 to jump over that group of stitches. Three, 2, 3. We're making a corner, so it's 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. I really should tie my hair up when I do this, because sometimes it falls over my shoulder and drives me crazy. 3 double crochets, into the chain 2 space, 1 chain to jump over that group of stitches. Keep working all the way around. We're in a corner, so it's 3, 2, 3. It's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. We're almost there. Chain 1. And now the only part left is to join to that chain 3 right there that we started with. Okay, so we finished our second round, right? So slip stitch over to the corner, right into the corner, chain 3, work 2 double crochets, because remember that chain 3 is a double crochet, chain 2, a lot more yarn. Okay, work 3 more double crochets, form that corner, chain 1, because we're jumping over that group of stitches. There we go. Work the 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, chain 1. This is going to be fun. Here we go. 3 double crochets. Okay. Chain 1 and stop. Let's bring our work over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join it to the corner of this gold square. We're going to join along here and join along here. So I'm going to take the work, put them back to back, line it up, and into that chain 2 space right there, slip stitch, chain 1. Come back to your gray yarn here and finish off the corner. Chain 1, come back to the gold one, there's the space right there, work your slip stitch right there, come back to your gray square and do your 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Now you see this space here, that's where you're going to do the next slip stitch. There we go. This is where actually your tails can get a little tangled up when you're doing things like this, so just be aware of that. So now you're going to work into the corner of the gray yarn. So we're going to work our 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to work the slip stitch into the yellow yarn there, diagonal from this square. So reach your hook through. Let's see if I can do that better. Reach your hook through, grab that yarn, pull it through, slip stitch. It kind of gets away from you a little bit once in a while, but you can wiggle it and you finally get it through. Now, complete your corner. With your 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then what you're going to do is you're going to start joining this square to the ivory colored one. So you need to make joins along here so that the piece is completely connected. So get that hook back in there and insert the hook in through the chain 1 space on the ivory colored square, work your slip stitch. Now come back to your gray square and finish off that particular section. All 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the chain 2 space right there, work your slip stitch. Now you're going to start your corner on your gray square. So you're going to work your 3 double crochets, chain 1, okay, let's move this over a little bit. You're going to go into the corner right here on the ivory square, connect with a slip stitch, chain 1. Now you're going to come back to the gray yarn and finish off that corner by working your 3 double crochets into that chain 2 space. Right there. Chain 1, this is the last section you're going to have to work with the 3 double crochets and the chain 1. Chain 1, and you can now slip stitch to the top of this chain 3 to connect it. There we go. Do that join. Where's my scissors? There we go. Cut the yarn. Pull it through like that. And now we have 4 joined squares. Let me get this out of the way here. And like I said, sometimes a nice little finger block, move this over here, move this over there, can really make a difference. If you wanted to use steam or water to block your project, you could pin it down on a board and wet it with a little bit of spray a little water on it and adjust the stitches as you need to. Or you could use steam. If you have a steamer, you can use the steam to block it and adjust the stitches accordingly. Or if you're going to make an afghan, usually the weight of the afghan just pulls it all out so it hangs nice and neat. So there you have your, or at least one method of join as you go for a traditional granny square.